Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a high-stakes confrontation from the Gospel of John that honestly plays out just like a courtroom drama. And it all hinges on one massive question. Who really is Jesus?
Okay, so let's set the scene. You're at the pool of Bethesda, and there's a man there who hasn't been able to walk for 38 years. I mean, think about that. 38 years. Jesus heals him, just like that. But here's the problem. It's the Sabbath, the holy day of rest. And when Jesus tells the guy to pick up his mat and walk, it causes this huge backlash from the religious leaders.
Now, the authorities aren't just upset that he broke a rule. No, this goes so much deeper. By healing on the Sabbath, Jesus is claiming he has the authority of God himself, the authority to say what the law really means. To them, this isn't just an infraction, it's blasphemy. And in their book, the only punishment for that is death.
So this incredibly serious accusation sets the stage for what feels exactly like a legal defense. Jesus doesn't back down. Instead, he stands his ground and starts to present his case to his accusers, basically laying out his opening statement in the trial for his life.
And here's the absolute linchpin of his opening argument. He says, look, I'm not some rogue agent. I'm not out here acting on my own or trying to make a name for myself. He argues that every single thing he does, every word he says, is in perfect lockstep with the will of God the Father, the one who sent him.
Now, like in any good legal case, you can't just make a huge claim and expect people to believe you, right? Back then, the law required multiple witnesses to establish a fact. So that's exactly what Jesus does. He starts calling witnesses to the stand to provide evidence for his case.
And he doesn't just bring one or two. He builds this incredibly powerful case, calling on 4 separate authoritative witnesses. Each one is designed to prove his claim from a totally different angle.
His legal strategy here is just brilliant. First, he calls a respected human witness, John the Baptist, a guy they all used to admire. Then, he points to the physical proof, his works, the miracles that are impossible to deny. After that, he brings in the ultimate divine testimony, the Father, and for his final witness, the written, historical record of the Scriptures themselves.
So you'd think with a mountain of evidence like that, human, physical, divine, and textual, the case would be closed. But his opponents are completely unconvinced. So Jesus flips the script, he turns the tables, and essentially begins to cross-examine them.
And right here, we get to the absolute core of the whole disagreement. See, the Pharisees study the Bible relentlessly. They believe that knowledge of the text itself is what gives them eternal life. But Jesus just drops this bombshell. He tells them they've missed the entire point. The Scriptures aren't the destination, they're the map, and the map is pointing straight to him.
With this one line, Jesus directly accuses them of turning their sacred texts into a purely academic exercise. It's like they have all the data, all the prophecies, all the signposts right in front of them, but they refuse to take that final step, to actually go to the person the Scriptures are all about, to find real life.
So finally, Jesus gets to the root cause of their unbelief. And what's fascinating is that he says it has nothing to do with the lack of evidence. It's not an intellectual problem at all. He claims it's a problem of the heart, a problem of what they want, of what they're truly seeking. He argues that their disbelief really just boils down to a fundamental choice. Are you living for the approval of other people or for the approval of God? He says they're more concerned with getting glory from each other, protecting their reputation, their status. They care more about what people think than what their audience of one, God, knows is the truth. And then, in a final absolutely brilliant twist, Jesus turns their own greatest hero against them. They worship Moses, right? The giver of the law? Well, Jesus says Moses himself actually wrote about him. So if they reject Jesus, they are actually rejecting Moses. Their refusal to believe his words proves they don't even really believe the very texts they've built their whole lives on. So this ancient courtroom drama, packed with evidence and accusations, leaves us with a question that feels incredibly modern. If your life and your beliefs are on trial, who's sitting on your jury? When it comes down to it, whose verdict are you really trying to win?